I F44 hired an investigator and have discovered my husband's M47 affair and a sex addiction. What on earth do I do next? My husband, M47, and I, F44, I have been married for just over a decade, and it has been, for the most part, a loving marriage centered around our two beautiful children. Of course, I've had grievances. He travels a lot for work, is constantly glued to his phone, and sometimes would abruptly pop out 4 errands that he has always been incredibly vague about. Initially, these didn't concern me too much. He has a very demanding job that has allowed us to have a lifestyle I never thought possible, meant that I could leave work to be with the children, take us on wonderful holidays, send the children to a great school. I always felt that complaining to him about his work, phone, computer, and random emergencies would be so selfish considering everything he does for us. However, 2 weeks ago, I started getting really suspicious after I had found a condom in the inside pocket of his blazer. There was no reason for him to have it there, as we only ever have sex at home and, frankly, it isn't something we do as often as we used to. This prompted me to do something I never thought I would do, but I found an opportunity to get into his phone when he wasn't looking. I'm not sure what I was looking for. I first looked at his photos but couldn't find anything. Then I thought I would check his messaging apps, WhatsApp, Telegram. Both were password locked, which I found very odd. Only iMessage could be accessed, but there was barely anything there. At this point, I had a sinking feeling something was up. Last year, a friend was in a similar situation and used a digital investigator to learn more about her absent and secretive fiancé. The investigator found out that this man had been living a complete double life, with a long-term girlfriend in Edinburgh and, unbelievably, a whole business he had set up and was earning money from. She had no idea about the business or all the money he was earning from it, and no doubt spending on his girlfriend. I asked for the investigators' details and requested that they pull together anything and everything they could find about my husband. The investigators spent about a week digging online and came back to me with a report that changed my life forever. I got a call from the investigator, warning me that my husband's report would be a very difficult read, and that I should open it in private at a time when I would be able to process it fully. Since I received it, I have barely been able to eat, sleep, properly take care of the kids, or speak to him, and yet he is so absent-minded he doesn't even realize something is wrong. It turns out that my husband of over 10 years has been 1. Having an affair with a woman 15 years his junior. 2. Financing this woman's lifestyle in her failed business venture. 3. Attending sex parties with her where they have sex with other partners. 4. Posting in a revolting online sex forum, including pictures of his genitals, and details his addiction to porn and escorts to his creepy online friends. 5. Based on this posts online, has clearly been spending thousands on escorts as far back as 7 years ago. I have no idea where to go from here. I don't know what to do. I have no idea how to confront him about this, or if I should see a lawyer first. I know the obvious decision is to simply divorce, but our children are 9 and 7. I have loved him since we first met 14 years ago, and I know that I have a place in his heart too, in spite of these actions. If he is truly an addict, then maybe there is a way to get through this if he agrees to treatment? I am a complete mess, and I can't talk about this to anyone in person just yet. Any advice you have for me would be really appreciated. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. Do not confront him. Go see high-powered attorney to see how you can come out on top. A good lawyer will get him to cover services. Get your financials together. Get spousal support, sue for compensation, the money spent on hookers and affairs, child support, have him cover college for both children, pay for all schooling and insurance till 26, get the child tax credits for each year. Because of his chronic infidelity being the cause of the divorce, you can get more than half in the divorce. Also see if you live in state where you can sue her for alienation of affection. Get tested ASAP. Let your lawyer guide you on what to do before you let him know. Also, see as many high-powered attorneys as you can so you have the best shark, and cripple his ability to use them as a lawyer. Don't forget all of his assets, investments, and retirement. Ask for forensic financial audit for any hidden monies. Bill him for everything and do not leave the marital home. Make Slappy Dick move out. I'm sorry you're dealing with this, but you gotta strike hard and be smart. And don't silver line anything or take his word on anything. Thanks for this. Sadly, because we are in the UK, cheating doesn't have much of a bearing on divorce outcomes. However, my solicitor is among the best in the UK, and I trust that we are going to do some real damage. Commenter 2, whatever you do, and there is great advice in this thread, please don't blame yourself. There's enough evidence in his behavior to indicate that he'd have done this to anyone, and there's nothing you could have done to foresee this or prevent it. Whatever pain your children will experience from your split will be 100% his fault, and you don't deserve to feel any guilt or shame. I'm still struggling with feelings of guilt. I know this is his doing, but I often feel as though I am a bad mother by not letting my children live in the same home as their father. Commenter 3, I'm sorry you're going through this. Please excuse me. How much does it cost to hire a private investigator? Hello. Sorry to only be responding now. It cost £250 for an initial sweep, and then once some fishy things were found, I paid more for some additional hours of digging. Commenter 4, I'm sorry you are going through this. Please seek out a therapist for some support. And please know you deserve better. I am planning on getting therapy soon, once things calm down a bit, and I can have a bit more time to myself. Commenter 5, 1. Talk to a lawyer before you do anything. 2. Know this is not something that will be fixed or cured via therapy. Therapy only works if the person does the work. It isn't a magical cure that resolves giant issues just because you schedule an appointment and show up. The reality is you have been married to someone who was capable and willing to lie to your face systematically. Therapy doesn't just fix that. In fact, if he has a personality disorder, which I suspect based on your post about his behavior, he likely will never change. 3. Do more research into pathological love relationships. Briefly, ask yourself these questions. Does he have difficulties with empathy, egotism, exploitativeness? Aggrandized sense of self? Distorted perceptions of self and others? Self-serving? Boundary violations? Blame shifting? Low remorse? Low accountability? Motivated by power, control, personal gain? Just a brief place to start exploring who you are actually married to. 4. Talk to a lawyer and a therapist before doing anything. Someone who specializes in pathological love relationships ideally. Update. This is an update to my original post from around a month ago. Firstly, I'd just like to thank, almost, every single one of you who has commented to leave me advice or message me privately. I took a lot of advice on board, especially legally speaking, and this has proven to be of great benefit. I apologize for my long absence and lack of replies. I hope the update below can explain it. I chose to wait until after New Year's as I did not want to rob the children of one last Christmas and New Year's holiday as a family. In the meantime, I researched solicitors and sought recommendations from trusted friends. Rather humiliatingly, I did, after much urging on this website, also schedule and go through with an STI test. It was horrifically embarrassing, but I am relieved to say that it came negative. I don't know how I could have coped if he had gotten me sick because of his revolting actions. He made my job incredibly easy by flying out for a work trip, not that anything he says could ever be trusted, on the 2nd, and I immediately got the ball rolling, met with the solicitor, packed up all of his belongings into 6 suitcases, had the locks changed, and spoke to a child psychologist to work out the best way to explain things to the kids, who are far too young to understand the full picture, of course. Fast forward to a week later, and upon his return I, having made sure the children were picked up by my mother after school, greeted him to a hallway full of suitcases and divorce papers. I had printed out the report in full and started walking him through it before he started breaking down in tears. It was a compulsion. He was unbelievably stressed, and that if I left him he would have not choice but to marry the other woman, whereas he would end it immediately if I were to take him back. This last part was truly the nail in the coffin. I don't think he even realized just how manipulative a comment that was to make. After hours of a back and forth and of his groveling, he gave up. He was left at the bottom of the stairs in the entrance to our home with his suitcases, waiting for a cab to take him to God knows where. There is still a lengthy legal process ahead, and unfortunately, it turns out that him being unfaithful etc. doesn't really impact how assets might be divided following the legal battle. However, I'm confident that my solicitor will get the outcome I need to keep the house and live independently. In terms of the children, I would rather not discuss them so as to keep it private, but it has been an incredibly difficult adjustment and sometimes I do feel guilty. As for myself, I am still completely heartbroken and frankly I don't ever hope to find love again. I just don't think I can quite trust like that again. Finally, I'd just like to add that while most comments have been lovely and supportive, I did get a number of comments and private messages blaming me for my soon-to-be ex-husband's behavior, claiming I did not give him sufficient sexual attention and that I shouldn't complain because he provided me with a certain lifestyle. Firstly, these comments are awful and betray a repulsive worldview with regards to sex, intimacy, and marriage. Secondly, our ailing sex life was not my doing and was, at times, an criticism I myself had of our relationship, not the other way around. Thirdly, just because someone provides you with a lifestyle, doesn't entitle them to treat you as if you're nothing, with no respect and no honesty. I would have hoped all would be aware of that. Relevant comments. Commenter 1, affairs do matter if you can account for all the money he spent on the other woman. You deserve half of that and it is often awarded in court because he spent marital money which is half yours. Comb through credit card and bank statements for hotel, restaurant, gifts purchased that you never received, etc. This process is painful, but you deserve your half of everything he spent on dating her. If you can't bring yourself to do it, hire someone who will. It can also be used as a powerful bargaining tool if he doesn't want other people to know what he did. Commenter 2, hours of groveling? What a sorry reaction. Anyways, I'm glad he didn't get you sick, and I hope the best for you and your kids as you move on. Commenter 3, what a ridiculous thing for him to say. You have to stay or it will be your fault I marry this skank I've been fucking. All I can say is I'm so sorry. Also get ahead of him and put in custody agreement that this woman is to have no contact with your children until they reach the age of 18 and decide for themselves if he chooses to stay with her, as she is 50% of the reason they're in need of therapy. But if he meets someone else same with you, the relationship needs to be going strong for over a year before any introduction. Keep those kiddies safe. Final update, I never imagined that a single Reddit post would change my life in such a profound way. To everyone who commented, messaged, and supported me, thank you. Your advice, encouragement, and even tough love gave me the clarity and strength I desperately needed. I am really sorry if I appear to have ignored some of your comments and DMs. I just wanted to thank you all and leave this final update. I will check and try to respond to messages and comments as much as I can. In the weeks following my last update, I have been navigating a completely new reality. The legal process is still ongoing, and while my solicitor has warned me that things could get complicated, I am standing my ground. I want a clean break, financial security for my children, and a future where I am no longer tethered to a man who deceived me in every way imaginable. The fact that his infidelity does not significantly impact the division of assets is a bitter pill to swallow, but I will not let it deter me from seeking what is fair. Thankfully, some aspects of his actions that the investigator uncovered will impact his case negatively. Emotionally, this has been one of the hardest things I've ever endured. The betrayal still cuts deep, and some nights, I find myself questioning everything. I repeatedly keep on going back over our years together, trying to pinpoint where I missed the signs, where I ignored my instincts. The truth is, I may never fully understand why he did what he did, but I have finally come to accept that his actions were never a reflection of my worth. I was not lacking. I was not failing. He was. Since our separation, my soon-to-be ex-husband has fluctuated between remorseful and completely delusional. One day, he is begging for another chance, promising to change, telling me he will attend therapy and a fight for our family. The next, he is enraged that I have ruined his life and taken away the stability he had with our children. He has tried to paint himself as the victim, conveniently glossing over his years of deceit and betrayal. At one point, he even suggested that we could remain partners but live separate lives, his way of trying to have his cake and eat it too. The most frustrating part has been when he makes an argument that this was a mental health issue or an addiction issue. Actually, it is 100% an entitlement issue. I have a lot of supportive people on here to thank for making that very clear to me at a time when I was doubting this. For those wondering about co-parenting, it is a work in progress. I won't share too much for privacy reasons, but he is currently on supervised visits while we establish a longer-term arrangement. The children are adjusting as best they can, and I am doing everything in my power to keep their lives as stable as possible. They are my focus now, and their well-being is my only priority. As for myself, I am healing slowly but surely. I have reconnected with old friends, thrown myself into activities that bring me joy, and even started to look toward the future with something resembling hope. I won't lie, trusting again feels impossible right now. Love, at least the kind I believed in, feels like a distant and naive concept. But I also know that I am stronger than I ever thought I was, and that gives me faith that I will rebuild, in time, in my own way. I could have never imagined getting through this when I had made my first post. Here I am, sort of on the other end of it. Still, just about standing. To those who may find themselves in a similar situation, please, trust your instincts. Do not gaslight yourself into ignoring the signs. If you don't have 100% certainty, find a way of getting it like I did. Either try and gather evidence yourself that you can use in court, or hire a PI/investigator like I did. And most importantly, remember that betrayal does not define you, how you rise from it does. This is my final update. I am closing this chapter of my life for good. Thank you all, truly, for being part of my journey. Relevant comments. Is there any chance that OOP's husband might have an undiagnosed mental health issue/disorder? I'm not sure. Narcissistic personality disorder sounds about right, but I honestly don't know if he has a disorder or is just completely selfish. Did Op's husband cut off the contact with the other woman? I have no idea what is happening with that. Her social media posts have stopped suddenly, so perhaps he is no longer supporting her lifestyle? Commenter 1, glad you're prioritizing yourself and your kids. Stay strong, you got this. Commenter 2, amazing how selfish they are, isn't it? He can't see beyond his hurt, his discomfort, his loss, his addiction, his struggles. Where is your pain in all this drama? Where is the disgust for being slept with after his dick was who knows where, for being fooled for years, for being lied to, betrayed, neglected? He acts like all of this had no impact on you at all. In all honesty, he probably thinks it didn't, because what they don't know won't hurt them, his cheater mantra. Some of them actually think they're helping their spouse by cheating because it gives them relief and makes them a better spouse, or some such nonsense. Love the let's live together but apart a bit. The shameless request to keep his comfort and safety and still step out, double bonus. You won't find a man to agree to this setup, so he'll keep you at hand, too. Unbelievable.